Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer. It is time for some Path of Exile. Today, my Divination card has been officially announced and will be joining the game in the Blight League. So this Divination card is the Price of Loyalty, and it is for a 2 implicit corrupted Skin of the Loyal. There have been a couple of questions about the design intention behind this card, so I'll go into those quickly. But just firstly, Skin of the Loyal, if you're not familiar, it basically takes Tabula Rasa's strength of being a 6-linked item and sacrifices some of the flexibility that Tabula Rasa has. Tabula Rasa, of course, always has 6 white sockets, and you can stick any color gem into a white socket. But in exchange for that flexibility, you gain extra power. And Skin of the Loyal has 2 mods that are visible on the item, as well as 2 hidden mods. So the 2 hidden mods are the same as Tabula Rasa, always 6-linked, and has no level requirement and no energy shield. It has this line, sockets can't be modified as well, which is a pure drawback, and it means that you are absolutely stuck with the colors of sockets that you get on the item when it drops. So that means that you cannot change it with chromatic orbs, and you cannot change it with the crafting bench either. Both of those will fail, and will leave the item in exactly the same colors that it had beforehand. In terms of its upsides though, plus 100% increased global defenses. This will generally give you about as much energy shield as a good helmet, assuming that you're using energy shield gear consistently in all your slots. It provides no life though. And the big line, the reason that you would use this item, plus 1 to the level of socketed gems. So functionally, a non-corrupted Skin of the Loyal is like a Tabula Rasa that's been corrupted to have plus 1 to the level of all skill gems, which is something that's always something that's a very powerful little leveling item that people can generally quite happily use. So if you can get a Skin of the Loyal that's the right skill colors for your planned support gems, or alternately that is close enough to your planned support gems that you can make just 1 or 2 little changes and fit almost as good a set of skill gems in, almost as good a set of supports, then Skin of the Loyal is a really powerful leveling item. It's also something that gets occasionally used at endgame as well. The reason it gets used at endgame is characters that want to try to one-shot bosses will often use a Skin of the Loyal. It's one of the highest damage armors in the game, and because it's always 6-linked, it's something that you can corrupt a lot of them. The goal that you're looking for when you're corrupting this is to get 1 or 2 corruptions that add plus to the level of socketed gems. So now we get back to why is it item level 25. So item level 25 here. The reason for that is that it's pretty much always optimal for this item to kick out from the drop pool, or the corruption pool, these 5 results. Now I know plus percentage to all maximum resistances, which is plus 1%, is normally one of the strongest chest corrupts, but you're using Skin of the Loyal, you're not trying to be defensive, you're going all out offense, and so for that reason I generally think that that this is not a role that you particularly care about. These 4, however, are pretty weak. So reduced chaos damage taken is 4 to 6%, reduced cold damage taken also 4 to 6%. These are not good corruptions on this item, and they're not really good corruptions on any chest piece, whereas at least plus 1 to all max resistances is. By removing those from the drop pool, you reduce the number of potential corruptions to just 13. And that's where we are when we're turning in this Divination card at level 25. The reason that I put it on the Divination card is because some players know, in fact, I think it's fairly common knowledge that the item level of a Divination card sourced unique is always equal to the character level that turns it in, or 80, whichever is lower. I think this is fairly widely known, at least amongst veteran players, and I think that this card's going to be pretty hard for anyone that's a more casual player to put together a set of. I think it'll be quite rare. So for that reason, I think that you will find this card that most players would be turning this in the level 20 to 44 range. So by going up to 20, you add in all of these generally very useful roles to the pool, but you don't add in these ones to it. So that's the reason that I think it's always best to turn it in between 20 and 44. And the reason I locked it to 25 is for 2 reasons. Firstly, that I'm lazy. and I don't usually feel like leveling a second character to level 20 just in order to have them be the person that turns in my Price of Loyalty divination cards. I would do it, but I'd rather just cut that step out. Secondly, though, it's also just a matter of removing what I feel is just an awful all-around choice. I think it's pretty much always going to be a mistake to turn this in. If I didn't have the item level if I had item level flexibility on it, I think it would always be a mistake to turn it in at any level that wasn't 20 to 44. And so for that reason, when something's always a mistake, I'm generally of the opinion that you don't want to give that choice to players. So that's the reason that I've locked it in at 25. Art-wise, you'll see there's a number of cultists staring vacantly into the forward, basically completely unconcerned that the Master Cultist here is using the Chayula unique item United in Dream to skin one of their comrades alive and to draw their soul into the skin that is being sort of this red here is not actually blood. That is where the soul is being drawn into the skin of this cultist, which of course is the skin of the Loyal. And there'll be, I think, 3 more joining it very shortly. So it's basically the whole idea. The mood that I was going for was the complete and utter disdain that these cultists have for their own life, and the complete and utter disdain that the Master Cultist has for them because they have chosen to give their loyalty to the wrong place. This quote here is essentially just someone telling the Master Cultist what to do, to forge a mere carapace from their skin imbued with their soul, and then to feed their flesh to the hounds. And so the intention for this quote, you'll notice that the card is very busy, and so the actual attribution of this quote was left out, but the quote is attributed to Zilkarpa, the Architect of the Breach, and you'll see how if that was added, it would have made the card just way too busy, which it already is pretty close to. So it is entirely possible that this card may drop from Zilkarpa, the Architect of the Breach, but time will tell on that. I get no advanced knowledge of where it will drop. In any case, if you've got any questions, feel free to fire away below. Otherwise, hope you have a good one.